Hey, welcome back. This is The Quiet Signal. And I am unprepared and recording anyway, because we need to get something out. What we're doing today is a brief and simplistic overview on Christian Rosenkreutz. Just kind of going through a beat-by-beat plot synopsis of the Chymical, right? I always want to say chemical, but it's, I think I always say it's like the alchemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreutz, but no, it's the Chymical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreutz, which is a 7-day allegorical romance that was first published in 1616, and then an English tradition that was published in 1690, the Foxcroft translation. This is going to be very story first, because this is going to be a building off point for later on in the channel. So I'm just kind of hitting the bullet points of what happens in the story of Christian Rosenkreutz. If you're unfamiliar, this is one of the stories of the Rosicrucians. You know, people of the Order of the Rosenkreutz, the Rosy Cross. Not too many people, I think, know about this, but it's another sort of secret society order. Many of the founding fathers are rumored to search for them. I think there's a whole thing about Benjamin Franklin trying to find them. It was kind of a bit of a fad thing, like it was a trend, where everyone was trying to decode and understand what's going on with these Rosicrucians, and people were all trying to look for them. People would put ads out in the paper and stuff kind of during that time. And it was a meme that lasted for a while, I guess, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's still going on today. It just used to be maybe a little bit more in popular culture. Maybe it was still a high society thing, but it's something that strikes me every time I think about it, or I come across something regarding it. It's not a symbol or something that you hear about very often, and it's somewhat of a joke, is kind of the curiosity of it. But all we're doing today is going over the beat-by-beat story synopsis of the Chymical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreutz. That's what I'm after today. And I'm using this as a stepping stone, hopefully, for the future. So stay tuned. Day 1. The summons, the warning, and the dungeon dream. We're taking place, it's an Easter Eve setting, the day before Easter. Christian Rosenkreutz, who is an elderly narrator, sits at his table on the evening before Easter, and he's praying and preparing inwardly for a devotion. And he describes preparing, together with my paschal lamb, a small unleavened cake. Then a violent tempest erupts, which he frames as a familiar kind of harassment from the devil. A messenger appears, described as a fair and glorious lady in sky-colored garments, studded like heaven with golden stars. Studded like heaven with golden stars, in a sky-colored garment. That may be important for later. Again, stay tuned. But she touches his back repeatedly. She has a golden trumpet and wings full of eyes. Wings with eyes. If you're familiar with the biblically accurate angels, I would imagine that you would want to think in that direction when you think of wings full of eyes, and carries a bundle of letters for many countries. She silently leaves him one small letter and departs with a trumpet blast that echoes for a very long time. It's quite the way to receive a letter. The invitations, seal, and verses. So the letter is extraordinarily heavy, and it's sealed with a cross and the motto, in hoc signo vinces. Inside are verses declaring, this day is the royal wedding day. Telling him to go to the mountain with 3 temples. And warning him to inspect thyself and bathe thoroughly, or the wedding may become his ruin. Let him beware who is too light. Another thing maybe to take note is the process of inspecting yourself, bathing thoroughly, making sure that you are in good preparation for this event, and that the wedding would become his ruin if he does not do that. He has a crisis of conscience. Instead of feeling chosen and triumphant, he panics. He realizes how unready he is, ignorant of these mysterious things, knowing he's morally impure, still tempted by pride and profit, and disturbed by the cryptic three temples. He prays for guidance and falls asleep hoping his good angel will instruct him. The dungeon dream, major set piece. He dreams and countless others lie, chained in a dark dungeon. This is a dream. This is him dreaming after receiving this invitation, right? This is what the dream is him seeing many other people, countless other people, just tons and tons of people, chained in a dark dungeon, and they're swarming like bees. Trumpets and drums are blaring. The roof opens. A little light comes down, and then everyone scrambles to be nearest to the opening. An old man recites verses explaining that because humanity is arrogant, it remains imprisoned. But a cord will be lowered, and those who can cling to it will be freed. There's 7 lowerings of the rope. The cord is lowered 7 times. The first pull draws up 4. So 4 people are able to be pulled up out of countless people, right? And many fall because the chains are heavy. Their hands are tender, or others yank them off in envy. So many people try to get pulled up off of the chain, but only 4 make it up, because they either fall off because the chains are heavy, the things that they're chained to, like they're chained onto the ground, and so it pulls them down, their hands are weak and they fall, or other people out of envy are ripping them down, not allowing them to escape. That's a key one, I would imagine, for most people, being yanked down by others, but excuse my commentary. Some tear their hands. Rosenkreutz, stuck near a wall stone, cannot reach it at first. On the 6th lowering, though, the cord swings towards him. Again, he's all dreaming this, but on the 6th lowering of the cord, it comes near him, and he grabs it, ending up upmost. I would imagine that means first, and is pulled out, receiving a head wound on a sharp stone. But he barely notices this wound out of joy that he's able to make it out. On the last pull, those already freed help strain the rope. So they help pull up the people. Next up, there's an accounting and tokens. The freed are counted, named, and unchained, and they each receive a piece of gold as a remembrance of going through this process. And one side of the coin, or the piece of gold, the token, on one side is the rising sun, and on the other side, the letters DLS. That's the end of the first day. On day 2, which we'll call 4 roads, a chase that chooses for him, and the triple gate ordeal. This is day 2. He wakes up from this dream, and he has a morning departure. His travel garb and vow. He dresses in white linen, grides himself with a blood-red ribbon. White linen, so he's wearing white, and then he has a blood-red ribbon crossing his shoulder, and sticks 4 red roses in his hat so he can be recognized. He carries bread, salt, and water, and makes a vow to use any revealed knowledge for God's name and his neighbor, not personal honor. This is he awakes after that dream, and this is what he does to depart, to go in search of this 3-templed mountain so that he may attend the event that he was invited to. While he's leaving, he's moved by a bird song and rejoicing animals, very Disney-esque. And he sings a long moral hymn about containment and not arranging God's design. Three cedars and the warning tablet. On a green heath, he finds 3 tall cedars. A tablet offers 4 routes to the royal court. 1 is short but dangerous, very rocky. 2, it's longer but plain and easy, if guided by a magnet without turning aside. There's the royal way of pleasures and pageants, rarely granted, scarcely, like 1 in 1,000. And a consuming way, fit only for incorruptible bodies. He's warned that once he enters, he cannot return without grave peril. So he has 4 ways to make it to the royal court. Why he has to go to the royal court before going, I suppose, in order to get the information of where the mountain is that he's in search of, right? On his journey, or before he picks which route he's going to take for his journey, he finds himself exhausted or tired, like, oh boy, oh now I have to pick out of one of these 4 things, I'm so hungry. So he cuts up his bread, and a snow-white dove appears and he feeds it. But a black raven attacks to steal the food, but he angrily chases the raven southward, only to realize he has run against his intention into one of the routes. So chasing the raven is what prompts him to now start on one of the 4 routes. And, you know, in his anger, he's distracted and realizes that if he turns back, it's now perilous, because there's a fierce contrary wind that seems to punish any attempt of him going back. So the raven made his choice for him, basically, or his anger for the raven made the choice for him. The choice he picks is the magnet path. Again, this is the longer but plain and easy, where you're guided by a magnet. And he uses his compass, pressing forward despite rugged terrain and tempting byways. Near sunset, he spots a stately portal carved with noble figures and a taboo warning. A man in a sky-colored habit demands his invitation letter. Upon seeing it, he welcomes him as brother and asks his name. Rosenkreutz identifies himself as a brother of the Red Rosy Cross. The porter asks if he has anything to purchase a token. Rosenkreutz offers his bottle of water. He receives a golden token marked with the letters given as SC, and is asked to remember the porter when it can help him. The porter also gives him a sealed letter for the second porter. As night deepens, a beacon is lit, so late travelers can hurry. The path to the castle is walled and planted with fruit trees. On every 3rd tree hanging lanterns lit by a sky-clad virgin. So impressive, he delays because he's watching. Right, so he goes on this adventure and he follows his magnet path. It brings him to a portal. He goes through the portal after giving water to the porter, to the man operating the portal, and now he's almost at the castle. But he's delayed because he's looking at all these virgins on the fruit trees. He approaches a second gate, and it bears the maxim, "Date et depitor vobis." A chained, roaring lion lunges at him after reading this, and the second porter wakes and drives it back. Reading the letter, the porter welcomes him warmly as someone as he long wished to see. The second porter asks for purchase, and Rosenkreutz offers his salt. He receives another token with the letters SM. The castle bell rings, and he is urged to run or lose all the progress that he has made so far. Racing the extinguishing lights, suppose these are the ones on the trees, on the fruit trees, he arrives almost too late. Almost too late. A torch-bearing virgin is at his heels. He squeezes in as the gate slams. Part of his coat is caught outside, and it must be left behind. Those locked out beg to be let in, but cannot. So there's other people with him. And the keys go to the virgin. He surveys the gate near the door, and he sees 2 columns, one with a pleasant figure, and the other is sad, veiled. They're both inscribed. The happy one is Congratulor, the pleasant figure, and that sad veiled one is inscribed as Condolio. Forgive my pronunciation. I'm a rube, if you couldn't tell. He finds the whole iconography too mysterious to interpret on the spot. He gives his name again, and is entered in a vellum book. He receives a heavier true guest token with the letters SPN. I believe that in some translations or interpretations, these letters can be different. So forgive me if I'm not using the letters on the tokens that you like. But for the purpose of this, he has the letters SPN on this new heavy true guest token, and is given new shoes. These new shoes are because the floors are polished marble. He gives his old shoes to a poor man seated among many poor under the gate. 2 pages with torches lead him into a small room. They seat him on a bench. They stick the torches into floor holes, and they leave him alone. And this ends day 2 on a poised initiatory note. To start day 3, the day breaks, and preparations begin for an inquisition. Rosenkreutz and the others, again, there are other people that made it through this. As far as we're aware, he's awake. Still. But Rosenkreutz and the others that have made it are moved into a hall setting where they can see the scales used for judgment. A leading virgin appears in ceremonial dress. It's described as red velvet with laurel. And she's attended by armed men in red and white, and announces that those aware of their wretched condition have pleased her lord and may fare better than the presumptuous who still stand free. The weighing logic of this, people are evaluated as too light or insufficient. Again, remember the heavy token. But people are seen as being too light, too insufficient, matching the invitation's warning. So I guess he's like there, right? Somehow he's there. Like he's at the templed place. The templed mountain, I suppose. Like he's made it to his destination. Those who assumed they belong are exposed. This, again, for future reference. Hint, hint. Pay attention, stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, comment, tell me how I'm wrong. But remember this, those who assume they belong are exposed. Those who are disciplined, modest, and weighted appropriately are allowed to advance. But the people that think they should be there and just assume that this is something that they should be going to, they're exposed. There's more I think about this, but maybe for a later time. The story's action here is less about combat than about sorting. Who is fit to proceed deeper into the castle's mysteries? Rosenkreutz is placed among a smaller group who will move forward. The promotion sets up the banquet, or this promotion sets up a banquet, gifts, and more intense inner rites for day 4 and 5. End of day 3. Beginning of day 4. Rosenkreutz oversleeps, and he wakes to the sound of procession music and fears that he has missed his presentation to the king, or the presentation to the king. His page reassures him he only overslept breakfast. Whew. Most important meal of the day, but it's not the presentation to the king, so you can live without it. And he was spared due to his age. So he's okay. He didn't oversleep. But he wakes in a panic thinking he might have overslept. Dude, this was probably like me like 3 times a week back in school. Every day is, oh, I overslept, but I only missed breakfast. I still made it. You know what I mean? Or, oh, I only missed my first period, my first class, but I'll make it for the day. Literally, Rosenkreutz, literally me. All right, Rosenkreutz almost overslept, just missed breakfast. It's okay, he's old. He's going to continue. He gets to a garden fountain where a lion stands with a tablet. Interesting. He reads, in paraphrase, a message attributed to Hermes. Hermes? Just Hermes, not Hermes Trismegistus, because there's a tablet involved here, right? The Emerald Tablets of Thoth or whatever, yada, yada, yada. Maybe it's related, maybe not. Who I wouldn't be the one to know, but I don't know. You know better than me, I bet, right? Let you tell me in the comments all about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and Hermes Trismegistus and Abram Abiff and what all that mumbo jumbo. Okay. Finds a tablet and finds a lion with a tablet. Reads the tablet and it's a message determined to Hermes. Hermes, some Egyptian, yada, 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 whatever. And it's after many wounds to humankind by God's counsel and art, a healing medicine flows. Drink, wash, trouble in it if you dare. Drink and live. Dude. It's all a bit much, right? But unfortunately, I don't have a reason for you to take note for future reference quite yet. The payoff for, my future reference, I don't want to spoil it, but with that, they wash at the fountain, and each drinks from an entirely golden cup. Now, if you're familiar with spilling the cup of Hermes, as I'm sure you degenerates are, I know I am, I feel guilty every time. Never spill the cup of Hermes. Well, I should never say never, but you want your cup of Hermes as full as possible. But they wash at this fountain, and they drink from an entirely golden cup in this fountain, where a lion stands with a tablet, which reads a message attributed to Hermes. That reads something like, after many wounds to humankind by God's counsel and art, a healing medicine flows. Drink, wash, trouble in it if you dare. I don't know if I drink... I do trouble in it, that's for sure, though. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you boys out there, if you're out there troubling with your spilling of the cup of Hermes. Again, I'm totally misattributing. Whatever it is you may think I'm saying here is probably wrong and not applicable. New apparel and a new golden fleece. After washing in the fountain, they are reclothed in cloth of gold with flowers. Ooh. And they're given jeweled golden fleece. And their earlier jewels are secured away in a casket by attendants. The Virgin leads them through... Again, this Virgin is the one hosting them through this whole thing. But they lead them through a newly opened door into a grand stairway ascent, 365 steps, of ever more costly workmanship. Every step becomes more and more elegant, more and more worked, more and more beautiful work, has more costly workmanship each step. Okay, cool. Laurel, wreaths, and the royal tableau. At the top, virgins attend, a bell tolls, and they receive wreaths of laurel. A curtain is drawn, revealing the king and queen in a staged ceremonial vision that frames the wedding as something larger than a private marriage. It is a courtly sacral event with spectators, hierarchy, and choreographed revelation. Okay, cool. All right. Right on. We're at the top of the stairs. It's day 4. That's the end of day 4. As we made it to we see the top of the stairs. There's virgins attending it. There's a bell. The participants are the Rosenkreutz peers and himself, the attendant, the audience. I guess they're spectators, but they get these wreaths of laurel, and then there's a curtain that's revealing the king and queen on a stage, and they have a ceremonial vision that frames the wedding as a larger, it's something more important and bigger than just a private marriage that they're attending. It's some sort of courtly sacral event with them as spectators or even more spectators, and there's a hierarchy and there's a choreographed revelation. Okay, end of day 4. They're at the top of those stairs inside the castle. And they made it through all these gates and they wash in the fountain. Yeah, cool. Okay, day 5. Number 5. Day 5. Execution of the royals and transport to the tower work. That's what we're calling day 5. This day where the book's tone turns stark. The wedding is preceded or accompanied by symbolic death. Ooh. Symbolically dying. Okay. Make sure to check all your texts during the video. That's what I'm doing really quick right now. Just one moment here. Oh, I have a package. Make sure to check that your Amazon packages have arrived. And also, very important, make sure you're drinking water. I know Christian Rosenkreutz gave up his water, like, right away in the story. Dude's gotta be... He's like that SpongeBob meme probably right now, where he's like, I don't need it. You know what I mean? I don't need it. I don't need it. He's probably just parched. Oh, yeah, maybe swimming in the cup of Hermes in the fountain of... and maybe after swimming in the fountain, he rehydrated a little bit. I don't know. Ick. Okay. Day 5. It's day 5, and we're... Get ready, because a symbolic death is coming, and it becomes stark. It's the tone of the book changes here. Rosenkreutz witnesses the shocking ritual of beheading royal persons. I don't know about... I shouldn't say that, actually, but I was gonna be like... It must be nice, you know what I mean? To, oh, the royal person's getting what they deserve. Ooh. But I'm just being goofy. I'm all warmed up and delirious from reading this for so long. Forgive me. But Rosenkreutz, he watches a shocking ritual. This may be important for later. Maybe important for later. I think it might be. But he's witness to a shocking ritual of beheaded royal persons and their placement into coffins amid mournful music. World's smallest violin playing. As the royal persons are beheaded and placed into coffins, the narrative stresses ceremony, muffled attendants, and a burial arrangement tied to numbered architecture. After this, they travel by ship and are eventually brought to a square island with massive walls and a tower described as a system of 7 round towers, nestled together with 7 stories. Okay, so now we're at a whole new place, dude. So we've gone through the castle, and now we're at this new place that we traveled to by ship. It's an island. It's square. It has massive walls, and there's a tower, and it has a system of 7 round towers nestled together with 7 stories. And the middle rises higher. Cool. At the tower's bottom, they are set to work in a laboratory. Ooh, chemistry day. So they're in the lab, beating and washing plants and precious stones, extracting juices, ooh, and essences, ooh, into glasses. Explicitly mere drudges, doing necessary preparation for restoring the beheaded bodies. Oh, we're doing a little alchemy, a little necromancy, a little bring it back from the dead, are we? Okay, a little playing with God, are we? All right. But they're preparing precious stones and plants, pulling out juices and essences, and the goal is to prepare for restoring the beheaded bodies. Food and lodging are spare. Broth, little wine, mattresses on the ground. It's truly a trap house drug den. We're cooking up the meth. We're cooking up the necromancy acid in the bathtub. At night, Rosenkreutz climbs stairs to the wall, contemplates stars, and notes an extraordinary planetary conjunction. At midnight, he sees 7 flames crossing the sea towards the tower spire. Winds rise, the sea turns tempestuous, and the moon clouds over, sending him back inside in fear. Ooh, what are the 7 flames coming chasing me as I'm cooking up necromancy meth? Ooh, on a strange island that I've been brought to by weirdos in a castle doing some sort of weird, something. The whole thing's weird. That's all. It's all just weird. But that's the end of the day. He sees these seven flames on the way to the tower that he's in. I don't know if they're coming from, and it's midnight, and the clouds are covering the moon, and it's freaking him out. He's like wigging out. He's probably off with all those fumes from the plants and precious stones, and the juices from them. But he's freaking out, and we say the day closes with wonders, right? I'm certainly wondering what's going on. If you want to call that wonderful, I guess I will. Day 6, restoration work and the closets of rarities. They awake and the company's labor continues. Preparations culminate towards revivifying, or restoring what has been killed. The text frames earlier steps as necessary for the restoring of the beheaded bodies. There's probably a whole thing. Again, I'm very beat by beat. I'm very simplistic here. The nuances and the deep, descriptions of the rituals and the things that they're doing, I'm really kind of brushing over it. I understand that people think that there's a whole bunch of secrets that need to be decoded from all this sort of stuff. Again, please let me know in the comments all of those things. I'm begging you, because you're really smart and I'm really dumb, and actually you're watching this to tell me how I'm wrong. Okay? So please, and I'm being silly, but like, please, actually, I'm happy to hear all of your theories and stuff. There may be, if you comment and follow me on Twitter, you can discuss this deeper with me. And the purpose of this, maybe I'll reveal to you early. Ooh. Cool. Okay, right? They're continuing to do the laboratory labor. All these things to restore the beheaded bodies. After nocturnal refreshment, an old lord guides them through the closets of rarities. Ooh. So it's dispersed among bulwarks, marvels of nature and human ingenuity so abundant, Rosenkreutz claims they'd need a year to survey them. It's like that, at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, imagine if you walked through, if like you got to just walk through all of that, but instead of everything being in crates, it's actually displayed, which it should be. You know what I mean? Spielberg. That's who made that movie, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, how come we don't get to see all the cool stuff that the government has inside the big warehouse that they put the Ark? There should be, like, all this mumbo-jumbo, spooky-dooky, like, alien crafts, like, you know what I mean? Like, the map of Atlantis, the Holy Grail. I guess they don't get the Holy Grail in that show or whatever, but that's what they're doing. They're going through the closet of rarities, and when you think of that, you should just think of, like, all the marvels of nature and human ingenuity, just a grand collection of crazy, wacky stuff that exists that regular people don't know about or think about. They probably have the voice-to-skull technology. You know what I mean? Voice-to-skull technology. Look into it. Just kidding. Don't look into it. They probably got... What else? Nanobots. What else? What else would be in there? An equivalent to today. Neuralink. You know what I mean? I don't know. The Monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey. What else? Let me know down below what you think would be really neat if you were in the closet of rarities to trip over. You know what I mean? And think of it, it's marvels of nature. So maybe like the glass skulls or whatever, the crystal skulls, like that one guy that makes tequila or whatever. And then what else is there? Probably the Egyptian stuff, you know what I mean? And Atlantis stuff. And I don't know, the Animus from Assassin's Creed might be in there. What else? Well, anyway, the Cabinet of Wonders Night. All right, so nocturnal refreshment. And they go through the closet. They get some sort of nocturnal refreshment. There's an old lord, and he brings them through this closet of rarities. And it's so abundant that Rosenkreutz says they need a year to survey them, which... Honestly, maybe I'm hyping up the closet of rarities. If it only would take you a year to, like, look at them all. Well, I guess to look at them all and catalog them all. So, I mean, if you do, like, 20 a day, which is probably minimal. Like, that's a lot, I guess. So, okay, maybe 100 a day. Let's say 100 a day, what would that be? Calculator. If you were able to do this in your head faster than I could right now, comment down below. 36,500. Wow, that's how many rarities there could be maybe in the closet of rarities if you could check 100 a day and you had 365 days, just like the stairs, 365 stairs. But if you had 365 days and there were 100 that you could do in a day, that would mean there would be 36,500 rarities to survey. Hooray. Hip, hip, hip. Souffle. Okay, all right, let's keep going. They finally sleep. So I guess day 6 is a really long day, but we've done like 2 things, which is we keep doing labor in the laboratory, and then because we have to restore the dead bodies that have been beheaded, and then we go through the Cabinet of Wonders, and now we go to sleep, and they sleep in a richly furnished chamber, and there's multiple. They finally sleep in richly furnished chambers, and there's an abrupt contrast to the prior day's hardship, so it's like really nice. And their hard work in the lab and going through the Chamber of Wonders, it pays off because it's nice where they get to sleep. End of day 6. And on the 7th day, God said, what are we still doing reading this? 7th day. Oh boy, this is a long one, okay? Day 7, Knights of the Golden Stone, the Flotilla, and the Porter's Crime, and Rosenkreutz' Perilous Wish. Robed and revealed in the tower's nethermost vault, they receive yellow apparel. These guys are changing clothes every day. I don't know if it's every day that they're changing clothes, but there's been a lot of costume changes. The costume director for this must have been Light in the Loafers or something. I don't know why I would say that. That's rude, I guess. But they need a lot of extravagant, fabulous outfits for this story. So we're in the towers. Again, we're on an island that they had to sail to from the castle, which is, I believe, is involved in the Three Temples Mountain, which he had to travel to out of one of 4 paths, but he chose the Magnet path, which is the longest path. But a portal revealed itself on that path that teleported him to the castle, which I believe is, again, on the Three Temple Mountain, which he has now left and gone to this square island with a lot of towers. And they were in a laboratory, and they went through a closet that was full of wonders. They took a trip through a thing full of wonders. That might be important for later, actually. And now they are at the base of the tower, the nethermost vault of the tower. And they're given yellow apparel and their golden fleeces. They already had golden fleeces, I was under the impression, but they receive yellow apparel and their golden fleeces. The Virgin declares they are Knights of the Golden Stone, a status they did not previously know. Each receives a gold medal with the paired mottos as translated: Art is the priestess of nature, and nature is the daughter of time. That is kind of cool. Art is the priestess of nature, and nature is the daughter of time. They then have ships prepared, and they sail calmly, and there's musicians, and their flags are the 12 celestial signs. So, like, the zodiac stuff, you know what I mean? Like the fucking Crystal Girl astrology stuff. Oh. And their seating is aligned to Libra. Libra's a good one, I think. I like Libra. Let me know your favorite astrological sign down below. I like Libra. I like Sagittarius, I think. You know what I don't like? I don't like Leo. Not a huge fan of Leos, okay? And there's a reason for that. And it's because Obama's a Leo. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not being rude. But I have a perception of Leos that is not flattering, okay? We hate Leos here. We don't like Leos. All right? We're all in agreement? Thank you. Okay. A curious clock shows minutes on this ship that they're on. And then there's a grand reception fleet, so they meet an enormous flotilla! Hundreds of ships, including one sparkled with gold and gems, carrying the revived king and queen. So they're alive now. And other high nobles. So all those beheaded people are alive now, and they're on the ship. This huge fleet of ships, and they're on the one with gold and gems. And the king and queen are revived, and the other high nobles. Cannons and instruments sound in celebration. Big fan of cannons and instruments. Dude, firing a cannon in celebration sounds just rad. Sounds rad to me. Okay, return to the first gate. The porter appears. They land near the first gate. The first gate Rosenkreutz originally entered, which I think is that portal, or it's the other one. I'm losing track. I'm sorry, okay? I think that's kind of the whole point of all of this. It's like a Norm Macdonald joke. This whole thing is just nonsense. But the ships make it back to land, and they're near the first gate, the one that Rosenkreutz originally entered. The king and queen greet them kindly, and they mount horses. Rosenkreutz gets the ride near the king, bearing a white ensign with a red cross. So he's got the red cross. Like a Templar. The Templars that worship Baphomet, if you didn't know. Just kidding. I don't know if that's... hey. Whatever, Solomon, whatever, Abraham Abiff, whatever, Templars, you got... Hey. I don't know what's going on. That's just what I've heard. I just watched... That's not relevant. Okay. Partly because of his age and appearance, gray beard and hair, because he's old. So he gets to be next to the king because he's old. Being old has helped him a few times here. Okay, the king reveals kinship, water, and salt redemption recalled. The king notices Rosenkreutz's gate tokens and asks if he redeemed them at the gate. Rosenkreutz says yes, with water and salt. With water and salt, and recounts the dove and raven episode that led him onto the path. So Rosenkreutz shares with the king his kind of story of getting there, getting to the ritual in the first place or whatever. Again, this king has just died and then been revived, like Jesus. And the king praises this as a singular happiness granted by God. Cool. So the king is like, whoa, neat that you had to give up your water and salt, and that a dove and raven fought each other, and the raven is why you ended up taking the path that you did. Cool. Interesting, neat, and it must have been God. Porter's petition and Venus offense. At the first gate, the porter in blue. I don't know if I failed to mention that the first porter that the first gate, the porter was in blue, but he is, and he brings a supplication asking to be freed. The king explains the porter is a famous astrologer punished because he committed a fault against Venus. Oh, haven't we all, dude? Oh, haven't we all? Spilling the cup of Hermes against Venus. I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, I'm your desire, or whatever. Dove, by the way. Interesting, actually. Dude, when you read stuff like this, you just go schizophrenic and you start seeing like the connections everywhere. You know what I mean? Sometimes you note it like it's like this has to be intended, and then sometimes it's something like this, like why, like dove, Venus, whatever. Excuse me, but the porter is famous for astrology, and he's punished because he upset Venus. He did something against Venus, which was he saw her in her bed of rest. Ooh, scandalous. Ooh, a little lingerie with Venus, right? Okay, he must remain until someone releases him. Oh, who's that going to be, I wonder? So again, just to reiterate, the first gate porter, who wears blue, asks to be freed, and the king explains this guy is bound because he's a famous astrologer, and he committed a fault against Venus because he saw her in her bed of rest. Hot. I could be vulgar in my humor with this, but I'll leave it all up to your own imagination. He must remain until someone releases him by taking his place through a comparable transgression. Ooh. Salvation through sin. Maybe, sort of, not quite, maybe. We don't want to be Sabbatean Frankists over here, right? But someone replaces him by taking his place through a comparable transgression, right? So it's like when you're on timeout and you're not allowed to leave timeout until like your brother does like something bad. That makes a lot of sense. That's a good punishment, right? Never happened to you? Just me? Oh yeah. Just kidding. That didn't happen to me. That would be cruel to allege against my parents. And if it happened to you, I'm sorry, because it's mean to have you be punished and put into servitude and serfdom as a porter for a gate because you saw Venus in her bed of rest. Whew. All right. Are you keeping up? Rosenkreutz's conscience convicts him as the offender, but he stays silent. So somehow Rosenkreutz feels that he's already done this, and he doesn't say anything about that. Okay, next up, virtues versus vices, chess. They go back to the castle. So they land at the first gate, but they have to walk all the way through everything back to the first castle. Okay, instead of just going to where they left from the castle. Okay, all right, cool. I'll take it. They're back at the castle. The king and the queen, again, they had been beheaded, I believe, and then revived through the necromancy meth lab, and they are playing a game that resembles chess. It's not chess; it resembles chess. Virtues against vices, dude. Vices always win. This is just the way it goes. We know that. But it's okay. Showing how vices plot against virtues and how virtues counter. Ooh. Cool. These are the revelations, the ceremonial revelations, or whatever, the choreographed revelations, right? All of these things. Okay. Knighthood articles, including a darkly comic one. In the culminating ceremony, so they've witnessed the virtues versus vices chess resembling game. Now we are in a ceremony where the knights, I would imagine these are the knights of the golden, whatever, daughter of time, Art is the priestess of nature, and nature is the daughter of time. Knights of the Golden Stone. Okay, cool. That's what I would imagine that these knights are, right? The knights swear articles, devotion to God, and handmade nature. Rejection of sexual immorality, which perhaps Rosenkreutz is guilty of, if that is in relation to the sin against Venus, or the fault against Venus, and seeing her in her bed of rest. I don't know. Maybe I'm drawing stuff that's not there. Readiness to aid the worthy. Oh boy, etc. So there's a whole bunch of articles, and the last article makes them laugh, suggesting it may be placed only for a conceit. Why doesn't my note tell me what the last article is? Excuse me, last... Caps lock, dude. Last article of Knights of the Golden Stone. The term Knights of the Golden Stone appears to be a blended of historical secret society Knights of the Golden Circle from the Civil War era. All right, to be looked into for later. Knights of the Golden Circle from the Civil War era. You hit a little copy and paste on that, and then you put that into your notes app. And then you look at it later. Plot synopsis of Christian Rosenkreutz note. Then you go back there. And where am I? I am losing my place here. Shoot! Like, you guys aren't in this for the long haul if you made it this far anyway. I would like to know what this last thing is, because it said it was funny. Knights of the Golden Circle. Here's 1 hour on it by a fat neckbeard guy. No offense. I'm not far off myself. We're saving that super quick, but what is it? What's the last article of Knights? Chymical Wedding. Okay, let's stick with me here. It's gonna be worth it because it said it's funny. We're asking the robot, okay? Okay, so they read all these serious articles, devotion to God, like I said, service to nature as God's handmaid, which doesn't that kind of, like, I don't know. I always am curious about the relationship, especially in the, you know, like, as a Christian or a real Christian, which would be a Catholic. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm prosy myself, dude. Positively Protestantly. Positively Protestantly. Okay, but I'm always curious about the relationship to God's order and nature's order, and if nature is holy and to be venerated as God's handmaid, as this would suggest, or if nature is corrupted material, which is separated from the divine. But again, I mean, who cares? I don't know anything. Excuse me while I check my email. Email break. Are you drinking enough water? Because again, not a single instance of Rosenkreutz drinking water so far that I've seen. So this guy is thirsty, which will not help when it comes to being moral against sexual immorality. So this guy needs to drink some water. And you should too. All right, so yeah, so we got devotion to God, service to nature as God's handmaid, moral discipline, aid to the worthy, secrecy, etc. The last article is in essence, here we go. Are you ready? That none of the knights should be afraid of or ashamed to be a hangman, executioner, or to perform such lowly or despised offices, if duty or necessity requires it. That sounds serious to me, but different translations phrase it slightly differently, but the core idea is consistent. The knight must be willing to perform even societally despised, unclean, or humiliating tasks without regard for honor or reputation. Cool. It all sounds just like frat stuff to me. Rosenkreutz comments that this article makes them laugh and notes that it seems to have been added only for a conceit, yet he still records it carefully. And I don't know if I need to analyze it more deeply than that. Really not worth, the payoff was not worth the squeeze for looking that up. And honestly, imagine if I was like a scribe in the, the 1700s reading this stuff. Oh my gosh, dude, how long would that take? You must be flipping through pages. You must rip a page like every 5 minutes because you're looking up everything, trying to understand what the heck is going on with this stuff, Again, we're on day 7, and They read the articles, and the last one is funny for some reason, the idea that you should take a job that's beneath you, and be happy about it. Rosenkreutz inscription: in a chapel, he hangs up his golden fleece and hat as a memorial and writes, "The highest wisdom is to know nothing." Based. Dude, yes. That, if there's a moral to anything, that is it. The highest wisdom is to know nothing. And honestly, if you're listening along with me here, you need to write that down right now. Grab a pen and paper. I'm walking you through it. You're standing up from wherever it is that you are. You're driving a truck. You're in the factory. You're where are you? You're being held captive by coyotes trying to cross the American-Mexican border. And you're listening to this in the earbud that you smuggled through your armpit. And what I want you to do is I want you to stand up and untie whatever your restraints are. So first free yourself, very important. And then you need to find the junk drawer in the office building that's being rented out by high-level politicians solely for the express purpose of transporting you to the organ harvesting den, which you didn't know was involved in, like, you didn't know that you had to give up a kidney in order to make it into the United States, or for some tragic, turn of events, you're actually being smuggled back into Mexico, and you're being held in a facade-style building with a whole front company that's being funded by high-level politicians so that they can collect your organs so that the politicians can live forever, because they were just like Kevin O'Leary and Marty Supreme. You were born in 1609, coincidentally only 7 years before this story was written. And you need organs in order to live forever because you're a vampire. Okay, so that's what's happening to you right now, and you are untying your restraints so that you can go find the junk drawer, because you are in an office building after all, so there is always office supplies, and you're going to go find a notepad or a post-it or a three-ringed binder with paper in it of some sort, even if it's scratch paper, anything, just turn in the scratch paper, and then you have to find a pen, which I'm doing right now. I'm just kidding, I've been holding a pen this whole time. Are you kidding me? I'm at my desk right now because I'm a free man. And now, what you're going to do is you're going to take that pen and you're going to bring it to the paper, and you are going to write down that the highest wisdom is to know nothing. No thing. And then you're going to put everything back just as it was, except for the piece of paper that you just wrote on. You're going to shove that up your armpit now, because you have two armpits. So you can put the note in one armpit, and then when you need to hide your earbud so that you can listen to this, you have to hide it from the coyotes who are keeping you hostage so that they can transport you either into Mexico humorously or into the United States regular. But you have been, either way, whichever way you're going, you have been tricked and are actually being organ harvested for Kevin O'Leary billionaire types that are actually secretly vampires from the 1600s. That require organs in order to live forever. That's what's going on right now for you. But for me, I'm just going to set my paper down on my desk. You are putting it up your armpit because you have two, so that you can still hide one earbud in the other. And continue listening to this presentation here. Thank you for watching. Okay, the highest wisdom is to know nothing. This is what Rosenkreutz is writing in a chapel after hanging up his golden fleece and a hat as a memorial. He writes, "The highest wisdom is to know nothing." Brother Christian Rosenkreutz, Knights of the Golden Stone, AD 1459. Cool. 1459. What was going on in the 1400s? Topic for a later date. The Wish audience, and Rosenkreutz chooses gratitude. So each knight is invited to make a wish and receives a private audience. Rosenkreutz decides the best virtue to display is gratitude. Would you agree with that? Do you agree with the gratitude thing? The gratitude thing is really popular. Again, I'm positively Protestantly. Gratitude is big. I know in the Protestant tradition, you're supposed to be grateful for everything, constantly, over and over again. They're like, be grateful. Maybe you should say thank you. And being grateful, I suppose, it is actually a very good thing to do. Spiritually and mentally for you. It does elevate you. But is it the best virtue? And what other virtues would you pick? But he decides the best virtue to display is virtue. Does that mean he's wishing to display, the best virtue to display is gratitude. Does that mean that he is wishing to be virtuous with his display of gratitude? And resolves even at personal peril to wish for the porter's freedom. Okay, that's very nice. So with his wish, he wishes to free the porter. Dude, I wish someone would free me. Dude, I'd be feeling like the porter all the time. Doing crimes against Venus and seeing them in their bed of rest. Dude, I'd be peeping all the time, and it doesn't help, you know what I mean? And I mean that, I don't necessarily even mean that, like, you know what I mean, like when you have the eye tracker thing on, and you're seeing if you can not look at look against Venus, you know? But I mean that also in, like, I feel like you're trapped. Oh, I guess he did that, and then he ended up being trapped in his station, but dude, being content with the station that you're born into in life is like one of the most difficult things for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm a rube. I'm a like uneducated, unwashed, like cuckoo banana nuts crazy person that was born into a particular class in a particular place in a particular state in a particular, you know what I mean? I'm in a particular mode of being and structure, and it is exhausting. You know what I mean? It's like, I just wish I could be homeless, or I wish I could be rich, you know, or something. You know what I mean? Like, but like what it is, I'm in, like, it's lukewarm. It feels like, you know what I mean? Like, does your station in life feel lukewarm? That's probably how that porter's feeling. Like, it's like, dude, I gotta stand at this gate, give people tokens with weird letters on them. Again, I'm not explaining the letters. I'm sorry, you made it all this way. I'm not explaining the letters on the tokens, or even like where the tokens are. Have you even been keeping up like what, like this whole quest of Christian Rosenkreutz is just a big like inventory display. Like it's all like just like all about like what the guy's like wearing. It's like if you're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and the only thing you do is like walk around and do like weird quests, and your inventory is just displayed the entire time, and it's like trade 1 water for 1 token, and that's the whole game basically. But dude, that porter, that's what he's doing, is he's just like, imagine being an NPC, and that's your whole mode of being is exchanging water for tokens. You're probably quenched, you know what I mean? Like, you're not thirsty. Again, make sure you're drinking water. But that's really nice of Christian Rosenkreutz, right? Even if it means he has to take the porter's place, he's willing to risk it for the porter's freedom, and that's what he does with his wish. A choice that risks forcing him to bear the porter's punishment. Right. Confession and consequence. When questioned, he confesses the whole matter, how ignorance led him into the mistake, and offers to undergo what he deserves. The court is startled by the confession. Oh no. Maybe Rosenkreutz doesn't really deserve to be here like we all thought. Whoa. Oh, well. Ooh. That's the murmuring going on in the court, right? Like, oh, wow. This fraud, I can't believe he would do something so bad. Which, again, I don't even know what it is that he did that was so bad. That is equivalent to a crime against Venus, or a fault against Venus. Atlas, again, when does Atlas shows up, and he announces that although it grieves the king that Rosenkreutz, who's beloved above all the others, has fallen into such mischance, the situation cannot simply be ignored, ending the narrative on the edge of moral seriousness rather than pure triumph. Okay, that's my notes that I have super quick. I am left a little bit stuck with the ending. Just super quick, like, if just a brief sanity check here for you, because this text it's slippery on purpose. I mean, the whole thing is like framed almost as it is a joke, like, but people take it seriously still, which is kind of the whole point or whatever. But even just purely at the plot level, because there's deeper things here to unpack, and like it's all encoded and stuff. I saw somewhere that like there's a point where I think it might be that tablet and that the lion has at the fountain that's attributed to Hermes. I think that inscription is like encoded, but they explain basically what the inscription is in the plot anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's all of these weird mysteries, but they still like explain them, and it's like a joke on you to like go look into the mysteries, because the answer to life is simple. But I will not tell you what it is, nor will I, because I also know what it is. Throwback too, right? Tell me if you know what I'm referencing there, if you're keeping up on the cool politics going on right now, right? But it's kind of a joke on you, like it's a joke on like esoteric people to an extent, is how it's been described to me, that this whole thing is full of mysteries and secrets, but it also just flatly, plainly explains it up front to you as well. So, haha, I guess. But it's almost like it's you know what it is? It's almost like the greatest wisdom. Excuse me. It's almost as if, again, do it with me. Remove from your armpit the note that you have written and read along with me. The highest wisdom is to know nothing. Almost as if that's the case, right? So, because when you know too many things, you go cuckoo and crazy, and you start thinking that there's voice to skull technology, which there is. which there is, they have that. It exists. You can watch actually college professors using it. So, if you look hard enough, but you won't. Or, well, you probably will, right? Again, because, again, I'm the dumb guy, you're the smart guy, and you're going to explain all this to me. Okay, so here we go. Even at the plot level, the book deliberately mixes dream logic. Again, important. It's important to remember that there's dream logic, there's staged ritual, and courtly spectacle. And there's different translations of all of this stuff. Different translations of all of this stuff is also kind of important of a note for future reference, that there's different retellings of this story. And they sometimes differ in small phrasing. Like the token letters. Again, I'm not gonna frickin' tell you what the frick those token letters mean, dude. Dude, like that's homework for you. You have to go figure that out. And some set pieces description change. For this, we kind of focus on the Foxcroft tradition text, and some other, like, you know, stuff too, I guess, a little bit. But super quick, we're going to just kind of go over the ending. Just a minute while we put something together here. So that first porter, the porter of the first gate, is, again, he's condemned to remain a porter until someone who has committed the same offense takes his place. And so there's this substitution rule that is based off of moral equivalence. And the crime that the porter committed is that he saw Venus in her bed of rest, which, if you want to decode, you want me to decode it for you? Really? You want me to tell you all the answers? You didn't study, and you want me to tell you the answers. I kind of already told you, but he looked upon divine and royal sexuality unlawfully, meaning he did gay stuff. I'm just kidding. I don't know what he did, but he did some sort of divine and royal sexuality unlawfully. Like, he looked at something probably that he shouldn't have. Probably, you know, like, he was probably looking at porn, honestly. He was probably just watching the old hub, and not supposed to do that. So now you have to attend the gate. And this matters because the Chymical Wedding treats sexuality, especially sacred or royal sexuality, as something that's strictly regulated by degree, timing, and permission. Very SR related. Very semen retention correlated, right? Again, in Marty this is not a Marty Supreme review. If you would like one, I will give you one, although it does seem to explicitly show that after the spilling of the Cup of Hermes, Marty is not able to beat the Japanese ping pong player. Like, literally, it's like scene by scene where it's like he is involved and with a lady, and then he plays his sports game, table tennis or ping pong. Again, what's up with ping pong? That kind of makes me go schizo thinking about. And I don't know why, but maybe you do. I think if you know anything about me, you probably know that ping pong and Andrew Breitbart, excuse me, is something that kind of activates me a little bit. But basically, in Marty Supreme, which I just watched recently, probably kind of timing this episode, this video a little bit, but there's like a one-to-one thing. If you really pay attention in media, there seems to be a common pattern of the SR variety. But that's just a theory, a game theory. Okay, substitution rule. The porter was looking at Venus all naked in her bed of rest, which is not allowed. Probably looking at pornography. This is not prudish. It is about initiation order. And so what Christian looked upon Venus when he was not authorized to do so. Okay, at some point. So he glimpses Venus outside the bounds of his allotted initiation stage. So he looks ahead in the ritual and then sees Venus, I guess. Sorry, I didn't have that in my notes. That seems like it's kind of important to the story. I'm probably missing a lot of stuff, and that's maybe even what I'm intending to do. He does so without permission. because he's driven by curiosity rather than obedience. Dude, oh my gosh, man. Rosenkreutz is literally me. But it's very important because he's not punished immediately, right? There's no, for some reason, Venus herself or Atlas, who appears at the end, or the king or queen, or nobody seems to just pick up this transgression immediately of Rosenkreutz, and they don't do the switcheroo immediately. The fault is latent and it's not enforced until the end, and Christian himself does not realize the weight of the act at the time of doing it. Dude, yes, I mean, literally me, right? And then cool. His error was not lust, not malice, not rebellion. It was premature vision. So it's like you're allowed to witness this, but you're not supposed to. But you're supposed to do it at like certain times. Like you're not supposed to do it earlier than you're allotted or allowed to. Maybe is this like all this like weird like girls are supposed to be in charge sort of stuff? This sounds kind of like maybe crypto feminist to me. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That could be interpreted so bad. Actually, I'm joking. You don't even know what I'm saying. Just like I don't understand what I'm saying either, and I have no idea what this story is even really about. So you should let me know down below in the comment description in the comment section. He saw ahead of his degree. This is structured as a sin of intellectual pride, mystical shortcutting. Dude, what are we doing here if not mystical shortcutting? Literally me. I am Christian Rosenkreutz, dude. Wanting revelation without readiness. Again, very important. Like someone can give you all of the mysteries of the universe, but they're worthless to you without moral devotion, without like moral capability. Like you have to be capable of receiving them in order for them to even be useful to you. Otherwise, they're just lost on you. Like pearls before swine, sort of a thing, right? Like you can't talk about Shakespeare with an ape. You know what I mean? You want to get physical like an ape? Mario Supreme reference. But like you can't talk about things that people aren't capable of talking about. You know, like if someone wanted to talk to me about quantum physics, it would be lost on me. You could even explain the shortcut, like 5-year-old version of it, but what use would it be to me because I can't do anything with it? You know what I mean? So it's a waste because I'm not prepared or ready for that knowledge. Just like in life, there's things that they don't tell you or that they don't let you know. Those that know don't speak. Shh. And you get it. You get it better than I do. You're gonna explain it to me in the comments down below after, like right now. You've probably already commented like 4 times. I need more comments because I need more information because I need to shortcut. Well, I'm doing mystical shortcutting while you have done it the right way and are telling me while I'm just wasting your time. Okay? That's what's going on. That's what's happening. Is you are going to tell me all the secrets of the universe and I'm just gonna read them and not understand it anyway. So you should, but you should still tell me because maybe I'll understand. Okay? All right. Or maybe. Okay, the moment of crisis, Christian's confession. At the end, the porter asks to be released, maybe because he knows that Christian cheated. I don't know. The rule is restated that only someone guilty of the same act may replace him, and Christian's conscience convicts him. And that's the key. So no one excuses Christian. There's no evidence presented, and there's no authority that demands his punishment. Christian voluntarily confesses, and he states, in effect, I am the one who committed the same offense. I deserve to bear the penalty if justice requires it. And that's the moral climax of the book. He risks his knighthood. He risks a permanent reduction to a gatekeeping role, probably until someone else does the same thing, which, dude, people are doing this every freaking day. We're all just trading each other's, like, knighthood for taking a peek at Venus. Becoming bound to the threshold rather than the center. Ooh, interesting point. Yet within the story's ethical framework, his action is right. Why? Well, yeah, of course. Obedience over brilliance, humility over attainment, conscience. Well, so what actually happens? He confesses. The king and the court are deeply troubled. Ooh, oh wow, Christian is a bad guy, actually. He was our favorite. And he's an old man, and he did that. He was looking at Venus in her bed of rest. What a creep. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. The king must be so grieved. Oh, the king said he's grieved. We cannot just ignore this matter. There must be some sort of judgment. And then, the end. The narrative stops. There's no scene of Christian being stripped of his rank. There's no scene of Christian replacing the porter. There's no scene of Christian even being exonerated. The book just ends in suspension, and we don't know what happens next. Oh my gosh. So what's the frickin' point? Why the end is deliberately unresolved. This is not missing a page or an oversight, it's thematic. The book refuses to give Christian a clean win because initiation never ends. Initiation never ends. Even the knight remains accountable. Even when you have made it, even when you're at the secret, super secret, special number degree, when you've arisen all the way up, you are still just at risk as the profane, and you are still being initiated into something else. You are still on the path. There is still more to know and do and to uphold. It doesn't end. It's almost as if, again, everyone raise up your arm. I believe it would be your right arm, although some of you may have put it under your left arm. Raise up your arm, whichever it was. Remove the paper and read with me. Read along, everybody. The highest wisdom is to know nothing. Thank you for watching or listening. Like, save, share, subscribe. This has been The Quiet Signal, doing a deep dive that's still only surface level on Christian Rosenkreutz and his Chymical Wedding. The Chymical Wedding. By a guy that has no idea what the heck is going on. And that's kind of the point. Because again, I didn't tell you to put it back. So you have it in front of you. Just like I do. And you're going to read along with me. The highest wisdom is to know nothing. Good night.